Hello, distinction students. This is your tutor, Miss Zulu. Welcome to today's conversation where we're going to look at stock exchange. But before I get into that, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more sessions. So, what is stock exchange? Stock exchange is a highly organized market where shares and other securities are bought and sold. The members of the stock exchange trade in the shares and bonds on behalf of their customers. When a public limited company offers shares for the first time, the stock exchange, this is referred to as primary market trading. So you can also say primary market trading is the buying and selling of newly issued securities directly from the insurer. Okay, so when shares that have been bought through primary marketing trading are offered for sale or purchase at the Lusaka Stock Exchange, this is referred to as secondary market trading. So this secondary market trading is when the previous issued securities such as stock or bonds are bought and sold amongst investors. Okay, so when you talk about securities, these are general names for all stocks and bonds. Okay, so now let us look at why a stock exchange is necessary. Okay, so it is necessary to enable the capital to be collected from anyone who has savings so that the cash resources collected are channeled into productive economic activities and build the economy, increase job opportunities, and create more wealth in the nation. The shares of listed companies are the means through which individuals and companies can invest in the nation's future and participate in the growth of the economy. Let us look at the functions of stock exchange. So, to provide a marketplace where second-hand stocks and shares can be bought and sold. Okay, so the other one is to enable companies to raise the capital required in financing the expansion of existing businesses or by financing new businesses by offering shares for sale to members of the public. To ensure that licensed members of the stock exchange perform their duties in accordance with the restricted rules of exchange. So there are rules that are given, and members of this stock exchange are expected to follow those rules. Okay, so to publish prices at which shares are traded at the stock exchange. Let us look at the reasons for the establishment of the Lusaka Stock Exchange. To promote and encourage private sector enterprise and initiative. So, to attract local and foreign investment through the recognition of Zambia as an emerging capital market with potential investment returns. So, for this one, it means you attract, they can invest locally or internationally. Okay, so foreign is just the same as an international investment. Okay, so to facilitate the privatization of companies, for example, I would say public corporations. Okay, and the creation of wealth for Zambians through wide membership of shares, to develop and establish a securities exchange in Zambia. Okay, so let us look at the functions of the Lusaka Stock Exchange. So the functions of this Lusaka Stock Exchange. So the Lusaka Stock Exchange was formed or was opened on the 21st of February in 1994. Okay, so it was formed as a non-profit marketing public limited company. Okay, so its functions are to provide a source of cheaper long-term capital for existing and new companies. Remember, it was formed for non-profit marketing public company. Okay, so to provide an opportunity for Zambian people to share in the source of private enterprise and privatized company. So remember, this Lusaka Stock Exchange was formed for marketing of non-profit public limited companies. Okay, so to encourage the international investment community to invest in Zambians. Okay, business and industry, increasing the pot of money available for the business. To facilitate the privatization of state-owned companies as part of the economy, reforms, okay? So create a free market system. Okay, so this was created to form a free market system for those privatized companies, okay, to promote wealth creation through wide membership of shares by Zambian citizens, to provide an effective, fair, orderly, and transparent market for secondary trading in shares and other marketable securities. Okay, so now let us look at how capital is collected at the stock exchange. So capital is collected by selling securities. A share is a unit of limited companies' capital. The main types of shares and other securities at stock exchange. So first we have the ordinary shares. So ordinary shares are also known as common shares, and they are most common type of stock that companies issue. Okay. Then we come to preference shares. So preference shares are also known as preferred shares. They are a type of stock that has certain preferences or advantage over ordinary shares. So when you talk about these preference shares, under it has two types. It has the participating shares. It also has the cumulative shares. So let us look at the founder shares. When you talk about the founder shares, these are ordinary shares that are issued to promoters of the what? Company. Let us look at stocks. So a stock is a number of shares, okay? So under here I can discuss, we have the local government bonds, okay? Let us also discuss about the local government bonds. So when we talk about the local government bonds, these are loans to local government. For example, I would say the Livingston City Council can obtain loans, lenders at the stock exchange to finance projects, okay? So the other one that we'll talk about is the government bonds. So the government bonds are loans to the government provided by lenders at the stock exchange. For example, Zambian government may borrow money to build schools, hospitals from lenders at the Lusaka Stock Exchange. Okay, so members of the stock exchange. The odd system of the stock exchange consists of two types of members, namely stockbrokers and jobbers. So when you talk about the stockbrokers acted as agents, buying and selling shares on behalf of the general public who are not allowed to do business on the stock exchange. Okay, when you talk about the jobbers were the actual dealers in stock and shares on the stock exchange, buying and selling shares for themselves. So when you talk about these two, the stockbrokers are those ones that would act like agents, okay, buying shares on behalf of the general public, okay. Then we talk about the jobbers. These ones are the actual people that are dealing with this stock exchange, getting shares for themselves. So let us look at the main players of the Lusaka Stock Exchange. We start with the brokers or the dealers, or maybe I would say brokers stroke dealers. So these are professionals who are trained to help general public in buying and selling of shares at the stock exchange, okay. So when you talk about these dealers or the brokers, they are licensed and authorized by the Security Exchange Commission, okay. So when you talk about this broker at the stock exchange, they act as the dual capacity as an agent of the republic, of the general public, as well as the dealer. So since it's brokers stroke dealers, okay, so remember in the previous slide we said these brokers are the ones that buy shares on behalf of this public, and on behalf of the general public, right? And then again it's in stroke dealers, so meaning as a dealer, meaning they're buying shares for themselves, okay. So the second one that we're going to talk about is the listed companies. So when I talk about listed companies, these are companies whose shares are registered with the Stock Exchange Commission, okay, for the public trading. So when you talk about the listed company has a presence on the top tier known as what? As a listed tier of the LUCE, okay. So these listed companies, there are quite a number in Zambia. So examples of these listed companies that I would talk about Probably for these listed companies are those ones that have met the Lusaka stock exchange listing requirements. Okay, so I would talk about the British American Tobacco Zambia. I will talk about the BP Zambia. I would also give an example of Farmers House or the Chilanga Cement, as well as Invest Trust Bank. Those are examples of listed top tier public limited companies that have met the Lusaka Stock Exchange listing requirements. Okay, so let us move to private investors. So when we talk about private investors, these are individuals who have cash which they can save or invest by buying shares of selected companies traded at the stock exchange. Okay, so we move to institutional investors. So when we talk about these institutional investors, these are companies and institutions that invest money in company shares. Okay, so these are institutional investors can take advantage of the establishment of the Lusaka Stock Exchange. Okay, so for example, I would give insurance companies, would talk about pension funds. Okay, so let us move to underwriters. So when you talk about these underwriters, these are investors who agree to buy a certain number of shares that are being issued or listed on the Lusaka Stock Exchange. Okay, so usually these are done by new companies if the public does not buy from them. Okay, so we move to the government. So the government here sells stock on the stock exchange to raise capital or loan capital for building of schools and hospitals. Okay, so that's the reason why the government sells stock, for them to raise loan where they're going to build up hospitals, schools, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let us move to foreign investors. So when we talk about these foreign investors, can invest in growth sectors of tourism. We can talk about agriculture, we can talk about banking, we can talk about mining, and so on and so forth. Okay, so benefits of being a shareholder. One is able to receive dividends. So wait, when we talk about dividends, so these are a portion of company's profit that are distributed to a shareholder. That's a definition of dividends. So one of the benefits of being a shareholder is one is able to receive dividends from companies whose shares he owns. Okay, so he gains from the increase in the value of shares, since if the company performs well. So when the company performs well or makes enough profit, it's an advantage for the shares to increase. So with the demand of shares will be high and shares prices will go up. Okay, so that's an advantage. The other one, he may attend and vote at the company general meetings, receive regular information on the company, and copy of the annual. Okay, so these are one of the advantages. You get to attend the meetings, you get first-hand information when you're a shareholder. So he will have the right to buy further shares if the company decides to issue them. Okay, so he will benefit from the bonus declared by the company. A bonus is a free issue, okay, of shares to a shareholder. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel for more sessions.